Now I want to welcome our first guest, Russell R. Smith. Russell, welcome to Energy Matters.
Thank you, Tim. Glad to be here. And Scott, wow, that's the fastest hiring cycle and promotion follow-on I think I've ever heard of.
Just remember, you can go up fast and you can come down.
Right.
That was. I'm with you, Russ.
So keeping with the energy theme, we just hope he doesn't flame out.
So tell us about Quantum Energy, Russ.
You bet. Quantum Energy is a development stage, publicly traded company. We're currently in our capitalization process with a phase one development plan to build 5 what we're calling 21st century energy centers throughout the Bakken. Some of those may flop over into the Montana area. We are looking at a couple sites there, but I believe the majority are ultimately going to end up in North Dakota. Each center will consist of a 20,000 barrel per day micro refinery, very similar to the facility that MDU Resources is currently building outside of Dickinson, coupled with 100,000 barrel per day each at each site, natural gas liquids or NGL stripping facilities, and CO2 recapture capability. The use of that product would be for downhole enhanced recovery.
Wow. Well, you're talking about 5 and the liquid natural gas stripping. What type of capital is going to be necessary for an investment in the Bakken area to have something like this come to fruition?
A full build-out for all 5 centers is going to be somewhere in the $2.5 to $3 billion range.
So $2.5 to $3 billion. Do you have the locations picked out that you would like to put the micro refineries or the 20,000 barrel per day? And if so, how far along are you in the process? What's your goal? Is it 1 per year? Is it to get all 5 started? When you're putting a master plan like this together, what's step one?
Yeah, you bet. There's always a lot of moving pieces in a project like this. Obviously, the siting and breaking ground on facility number 1 is, of course, a priority. The long to midterm, or I should say the short to midterm plan would be precisely that, siting and breaking ground on facility 1, with the others to follow the construction resources that are at our disposal would have the ability to have multiple projects underway simultaneously. Obviously, they would be phased. You wouldn't break ground on all 5 facilities on day 1. They would be phased in, but we have gone a fairly good way down the path of site selection. One of the challenges that's been out there is we've had capital resources behind us. There's capital that are willing to commit. Finding the right real estate close enough to transload facilities to essentially not change the way anyone else is doing business, because that's the last thing we want to do, has been a bit of a challenge. And we're actually a pretty long way down the road on that now. The last several months has seen some community involvement from some of the communities in the areas where we're examining sites. That's moved along. And, of course, the zoning issues are very important with those communities, and that's always been a bit of a challenge historically. But we do feel that we're moving significantly down that path right now, and we do have a handful of sites that would qualify that fit our business model, fit the municipal and local zoning models as well.
We've got Russell R. Smith with Quantum Energy on the phone. We're going to be taking a break. This segment brought to you by Pucklick Chevrolet, Larson Engineering, Ide Bailey, and Bakken Energy Service. This is where energy matters.
This is Energy Matters with Tim Fisher. I'm Scott Hennon and Mr. Todd Mitchell. We have a guest from Quantum Energy joining us today on the program, brought to you by our friends at Pucklick Chevrolet, Bakken Energy Services.
Thank you.
Turn your microphone on. Ide Bailey. See,
thank you.
Do I have to turn your microphone on now, too?
You got promoted so quickly.
No, eventually I promoted you, and now I can have my brain half speed.
And Larson Engineering. The program is called Energy Matters. Your questions or comments are welcome at 800-228-0550. We're going to chat with the folks from Bakken Backers coming up a little later on. Lignite Energy Council, they did an innovative online energy town hall today with Congressman Kevin Cramer. We'll find out how that went. Meanwhile, we continue our conversation with Russell R. Smith from Quantum Energy on a big announcement of 5 new refineries coming to the Bakken. These would be diesel refineries and also would have an element of NGL processing as well with them. So Tim's question for you before was where, and sounds like you're in the process of that, but aren't able to tell us quite yet where these would be. If you, I mean, are you centering on one particular community for the first one? Anything else you can tell us on locations, Russ?
Yeah, you know what I'd say at the risk of sounding too cagey here is that there are 3 communities, one in Montana, 2 in North Dakota that are, let's just say, in the running for site number 1, and they range from far eastern Montana to far western North Dakota to western central North Dakota. Again, we are under NDA with the locations with whom we're visiting, and I can't really be site specific, but those conversations have evolved significantly in the last couple of months. So we find that very encouraging. If I may, I'd like to speak to something that Tim raised in your lead-in to the show back right after the show came on, and that is there is a legacy of some companies that have made somewhat similar proposals, not maybe as comprehensive as Quantum's, but some similar refinery siting proposals that just haven't come to fruition. And the question out there is obviously, okay, so why are you guys real? And I would say we have there's 6 reasons why I think that we're real, in quotes, if you will. One is our willingness for community involvement. We feel that some of the previous proposed projects just haven't really taken that extra step to go seek out that community involvement. Number 2 is our CEO has been the CEO of 2 NASDAQ companies, raised over $200 million in pre-IPO funds for 2 prior NASDAQ companies. Our chairman's a securities attorney with significant experience, definitely has the ability to take us to a major exchange post-funding. We're currently publicly traded. That gives us an advantage in attracting capital in the current marketplace. 4 would be the scale. It's counterintuitive, but out there in the capital raise markets these days.
No,
really
we understand. We understand. 5 is better than 1.
He's got 2 more.
Yeah, you bet. 5 is better than 1, and B's versus M's are a positive. We have, as I mentioned earlier, the existing capital offers, based upon ideal real estate acquisition, and I think our commitment to proactive involvement in the public affairs arena. It's raised our profile, it's advantaged us in the capital community, and the phone calls have increased. So with any development stage proposition, you bet there's always risks. We feel that we've positioned ourselves well to hopefully be successful where other guys haven't.
Just one follow-up question on the location. You obviously can't tell us where. You've been generous with giving us general vicinity. And obviously the capital says, go ahead and build these guys, assuming that your costs are going to be X. Is price of the land of the deal in these communities what is the most important element of where you end up going?
Actually, land acquisition costs are not really, of course they're a consideration, but they're certainly not an impediment to moving forward. It's really primarily finding ideally located land. Our business plan is very centrally focused around co-locating and or very near locating with existing transloads. I mentioned earlier we don't want to change the way other people do business, and so it's finding land that's very proximate to transloads that's properly zoned for with the municipalities for this type of an endeavor.
Got it.
Yeah, a great answer, Russell, because a lot of the permitting has already been done. The rail's already built. There's already a certain amount of oil heading that direction, and would not be difficult to get some natural gas heading that direction as well. You mentioned your CEO has raised some money in the past. Tell us how Quantum Energy came together, and what's your story?
Yeah, Quantum Energy was formed in 2006. Can't tell you what month. It's been a over-the-counter publicly traded company since shortly after its inception. I apologize, I don't know the month-by-month history, but generally speaking, been publicly traded since that time frame. Quantum has historically been an owner-operator of some 20 plus or minus leases in West Texas, oil and gas leases. So it's been in the operation side of the oil and gas business for some 8.5 years at this point. And the decision was really made based upon two key criteria: the acquisition